Hey guys, I'm the Burke and I do things. And today's video I'm very excited to film. We're going to be talking about neutral eyeshadows. You guys know how much I love a good, easy, one and done eyeshadow look. I am a lazy girl on this channel. And even more exciting is today's video is in collaboration with my friend Kelly from Kbellabeauty. I recently met Kelly maybe a month or two ago, and I have come to just love Kelly. She is such a sweet person. She is a full-time mom, full-time teacher. She uploads so frequently. I literally don't know how she does it all, but she is very consistent with her uploading schedule. She does tons of different makeup content, tags, hauls, reviews, first impressions. She does it all. It's really fun to watch her channel. She's so sweet, super supportive in this community, and I highly recommend you guys check her out. As I'm filming this video, she is very close to hitting 2K. So if you guys want to go over and subscribe to Kelly's channel and help her reach that 2,000 subscriber milestone, then definitely go check her channel out. And if you are stopping by from Kelly's channel, hi, my name is Rachel. I do a bunch of stuff on this channel. Some of it's makeup content, some of it's random cat things, some of it's pregnancy related content, as I am very, very much pregnant right now in my 3rd trimester. And I also really like a good neutral eye look because, like I said, I'm really lazy and I literally only have 2 eyeshadows on today because that's my baseline. When it comes to doing my makeup, I like quick and simple and easy out the door kind of looks. So if you guys are interested in hearing me talk about some of my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes, I have both palettes that are currently available for sale, but also some that are discontinued, because from my feedback that I've gotten recently is you guys don't mind when I talk about discontinued products. So I thought maybe we could also inspire each other to reach for palettes that we haven't reached for in a while in this video. So if that's something you guys are interested in listening to me ramble on about, then keep on watching. Let's go. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 14 palettes in front of me. Some higher end, some very affordable, a little bit of everything. Some newer, some older, like I said. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of go back and forth between like bigger palettes and smaller palettes, because why not? That could be kind of fun. And the first palette I'll talk about today is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. This is the first Urban Decay Naked palette I've ever purchased. I did buy it when it was half price, and I think it's worth the price half price. I don't think this is one where I would tell you to go out and pay the full price, but it's very common, I feel like, for Urban Decay products to go half price, especially after they've been out for a while. That just seems very common for them, to the point where I don't know if I'd actually go out and pay full price for any Urban Decay product because they have sales so frequently. This is a really nice neutral palette that has those warm goldy tones to it. I find it really fun to work with. It has a very good mixture, I feel like, of shimmers and mattes. I feel like sometimes these Urban Decay Naked palettes don't necessarily have a very good ratio when it comes to those two formulas, but I feel like this one has a pretty good ratio. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 mattes, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 shimmers. So it's literally 50-50. So this one I really like reaching for, especially in the fall time. I feel like it's a really fun fall palette. And as far as the quality of the shadows go, I think they work really well. And I'm very happy that I finally went along and found a naked palette that kind of called to me finally after all these years. Oh, also, if you're wondering about any of the makeup I'm wearing on my face, this is from my most recent Yes Style video. I will have that video linked up here along with all the products on my face in the description box. All right, let's do a small palette. Let's do this one. This one I bought at Target. This is from Makeup Geek, and this is called their Choco Latte eyeshadow quad. So something really cool about Makeup Geek is you can buy these pre-made quads at Target with their singles. So we have the shades Grand Stand, Creme Brulee, Cheetah Bear, and Coffee Before Talkie. So these are great shadows. They perform extremely well, and I love being able to buy pre-made little quads at Target. This one especially is great. I love neutrals. I like that you can kind of keep it a little more cool toned if you choose to go this way, but if you go kind of more this direction, you can get a little bit more of a warm tone look. I like that when quads have that very slight amount of versatility within them. The quality of Makeup Geek in general is a really good quality, and $15 is not that bad, because before they did reformulate, the quads they sold at Target were $20 a piece. So somehow the price went down, and this is actually just like a miniature magnetic pan, so you technically could take these out and move them into a different palette and use this as like a little quad pan for anything else in general. All right, let's do another big one. Okay, speaking of discontinued, this is the only Anastasia Beverly Hills palette I have ever owned and purchased. Again, I did buy this at TJ Maxx when it was about, I want to say I paid $25 or $30 for it, but this is the Sultry palette. This is like the ever so coveted cool tone palette from ABH. I really do enjoy the quality of it. I really think this year with her holiday release making a mini palette, it would have been very smart for her to make a mini version of this, which people wanted to get their hands on and not everyone could. But that's not what this video is about today. My feeling about these shadows is I really like the palette, but I like it for the shimmers more than for the mattes. I feel like her mattes are very much known for being very pigmented and having a lot of kick up and like it's a lot to work with, but the actual quality of the shimmers is just so beautiful. And again, we have a really good ratio here. There's 8 shimmers to choose from. They have a really nice variety of tones. Honestly, like, I enjoy this palette a lot, and I was very grateful to be able to get it on sale. That is one of the nice things to have TJ Maxx around here. Like I said, I know you cannot get this, but I would not be surprised if that mini Glam does do well if they come out with a mini Sultry eventually. I really think they will. All right, let's do another little guy. All right, let's just kind of group these together. These are my e.l.f. bite-size palettes. These will obviously be the most affordable palette in this video, as these cost $3 a piece. I do have Cream and Sugar and Pumpkin Pie. These are just a great formula. I recently purchased their holiday palette, and I will say the quality in these mini quads are much better than the new holiday palette. It's hard for me not to buy more of these. I definitely have been tempted by the Rosewater quad multiple times, but I know that I already have 2, and you know, I can make a lot of looks with these. They're easy to travel with when that's a thing that the people do again. The quality is there, the formula is great, and I just wanted to make sure I included this formula so that there are like on the range of scales of prices, really good, affordable, neutral options. Okay, let's do another bigger one. This palette might be one of the oldest palettes I own. This is my Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. This palette has gone a lot of places when we talk about travel. Oh God, it still smells so good. Now, this one obviously has colorful options, but the amount of times I've ever used those colorful options, to me, classify it as a neutral palette, because I really only ever reach for the neutrals in this palette. For me, as somebody who is, I don't want it to like blind you guys. For me, as somebody who is not eyeshadow does not come naturally to me. Having these 4 mattes as my only options for mattes, and then just having the ability to pick, okay, and what shimmer do I want all over my lid? It's a very user-friendly palette for me, especially. This one, I also believe I paid half price for this at Ulta. I did not pay the full, I believe, $49 for it. Again, I would say if you can get it on sale, get it on sale. It's an older palette. Too Faced tends to put it on sale occasionally. But the actual like quality of these shimmers are, again, so good. Shimmers are really what do it for me in a palette, because usually when it comes to mattes, I'm usually just putting something really quick as a transition on my crease and covering the rest in something shiny. So I love the formula of this palette. I've had it for definitely over 2 years now, and it still smells really good. Formula still works well. Still recommend. I have 2 Colourpop palettes here to talk about, and I would say that both of these, looking at them just straight off the bat, I don't think they would necessarily be considered the most neutral shadows. But again, the way I use them as neutral palettes. The first one is another discontinued palette. This is the Colourpop Dream Street palette. This was their first collaboration they did with Kathleen Lights as far as eyeshadows go. And yeah, I know there are these like blues and reds, but if you kind of cover those, everything else is basically a brown shade. So that, again, the ease with this palette has always been that I always had these 2 options as a transition shade. Then I could pick whatever shimmer I wanted. If I did want to deepen the outer corner, this shade right here has one of the biggest dips as far as eyeshadow goes in my collection. So for me, this has always been one of my go-to easy neutral eyeshadow looks, and the colors just work well together, and I feel like no matter what combination I do, I always kind of get a really beautiful look out of it. The other Colourpop palette I want to talk about is the Sweet Talk palette. Now again, you look at it and you kind of see like a pink peachy tone palette, but a lot of the times when I use this, I still am getting a very, very neutral eye. I kind of pick something to go in my crease, and I always kind of wind up using this shade up here, which is a Super Shock shadow. They call it Side to Side. And it's just an easy palette to use. Again, there's a couple shades if you want to deepen. And again, it's not that traditional neutral palette, but it's a pinky kind of neutral palette. So it's really nice, especially like in the spring and summertime. It does have a couple, 1 or 2 pressed glitters in it. Not my all-time favorite formula. They're not the worst, but I would say 99% of the time I'm reaching for this, I'm using this Super Shock up here anyway, so it doesn't really make the biggest difference to me. The next palette is one that I feel like doesn't get talked about a lot, but this is again one I think I've even had longer than the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, and that is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Nudie Patootie palette. I have to be very careful with it because it is older. It's a little bit more fragile, especially like the more shimmery shades, but something about this formula is just so good. I don't think her makeup line gets the hype that it deserves. I will say I haven't tried a lot from the line, but this actual palette for me is so easy to use. It has all different types of nudes. You have your darker nudes, you have light nudes, you have a bunch of shimmers. These 2 shades here, they're not pressed glitters, but they are more of a chunkier formula, and they have a little bit of a reflect to them. This to me was always one of those palettes that I feel like kind of flew under the radar, but I've had it for over 2 years now, and you know, it's probably even closer to 2.5 years now, and it still performs just as well. It's one of those palettes, again, where I know that no matter what I kind of put on my eyes, it's gonna work and it's gonna look great. So I know this doesn't get a lot of attention, but I still think it's great all these years later. All right, let's do another little, let's talk about what I'm wearing today. This is brand new. You may have seen it on my channel last week, but literally I cannot stop wearing this Lorac Mini Pro palette, the sparkling palette. It is so pretty and so easy to wear. Today I have this shade in my transition and both these 2 shimmer shades all over my lid. I love this palette. This might be a new forever fave. Like, I cannot stop reaching for this. This is my first time trying Lorac eyeshadows, and the quality is just so good. And the price really is not bad. $15 for this. The actual matte formula is a little bit powdery and it has a lot of kick up, but I've heard that's common with the Lorac formula, but this has been such a joy. Like, this just makes me happy when I use it, and I cannot stop using it, and I have to like force myself to make sure I'm reviewing other products in the meantime. Okay, let's do another affordable palette. This is one I've talked about on my channel a ton, and this is the e.l.f. New Classics palette. I had mentioned earlier that their holiday palette really did not do it for me. To me, that palette is not the same formula as this formula. This is a really nice formula, especially when you're talking drugstore. This palette costs $14. It's about half matte, half shimmer, and it's just easy to use. I think that this is a really good palette, especially for someone who's newer to makeup and doesn't want to make a big investment into a product and they're just kind of learning and trying to experiment. This I feel like is a great palette. Like, any of these e.l.f. palettes that are this size and variety, I feel like are a really good option. The other ones are more colorful. This is just their more neutral option. And I mean, I've had this palette for over a year and I still recommend it to this day as probably my top neutral drugstore eyeshadow palette. Something that is kind of along the same lines, but more on the not drugstore end, is the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. This one, again, I feel like is a really great palette for beginners. Now, this one is a little bit more, focuses on the warm tones because it does have those more like purpley shades down in this corner and orangey shades up here. But again, this is a very good palette if you are newer to makeup and you want one palette where you're going to be able to really work with a bunch of different eye looks, but you really want to stick towards more of the neutral side of things. Like, this palette from Violet Voss is very good quality. Again, I think I've had this one about 2 years too now, and it's just overall a really nice quality palette, and I think it's really good for someone especially just getting into makeup. This next one is going to be a big spoiler for anyone who follows my Project Pan series, but you know what? I'm proud of myself. The Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette has been for quite a long time my all-time favorite palette, and I finally hit pan in a shade. Do you guys see that? Look at that. You can see it reflect. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This is my most used palette in my entire collection. I've had this one not quite 2 years, a little under 2 years, and I mean, This is the dent. I mean, I have one pan in this palette, and like a little goes a long way. It is kind of pricey. It's the $25 price mark for such a small palette, but for me, the quality, the amount of product in here, like it's just so good. This is the eyeshadow palette I was wearing at my baby shower. Like it's my easy go-to look. I throw this in the crease, this on the outer corner, pick a shimmer to throw all over my lid, my go-to kind of look, and it's just so beautiful. I cannot speak highly enough about this. I'm sorry if you were looking forward to my Project Pan updates and if I spoiled it for you, but this is literally like my child. Well, not my child, but my child eyeshadow palette. Okay, I have one last palette I want to talk about, and it's not really a fully neutral palette, but I'll explain. This is the Venice Fling Bailey Sarian X Estate Cosmetics eyeshadow palette, and let me tell you something. These 3 shades in the middle make the most beautiful, easy eye look, and this center shade, when you put it all over your lid, it gives you like this sheen that makes it look like you have like a glossy lid, like, and it stays all day, and it's just beautiful. Now, I'm aware that the shades around it are not very neutral, but when I reach for this palette, I am literally just like flying across this middle row half the time. It's so beautiful. I will say I did actually grab another one of these from Ipsy that I'm going to include in my next giveaway because I just love this palette so much. I think we're going to do that when we hit 5K. That's the plan. But I knew this wasn't like a fully neutral palette and I didn't want to like include it in everything, but like this middle row is the easiest eye look, and like I said, I'm lazy. I like easy eyeshadow, and that is very much accomplishable through this. I also like it because the pans are really large and you can use some of these as like face shades too, so it's kind of multitasking in that way, but I wanted to include this as like a special edition. And yeah, those are all of my favorite neutral eyeshadows. Definitely let me know in the comments what your favorite eyeshadows, well, neutral eyeshadows are. And if you think there's anything based on like my preferences that you think that I would really enjoy, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to stop by and check out Kelly's video. I will link her channel in the description box below. And yeah, that's it for this video. As usual, thanks for stopping by my channel. If you're new here, click the subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I have my Twitter and my Instagram down below. Give them a follow, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys!